You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, home of Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks, weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, right here on The Key and YouTube.com at Braves Country.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives. He was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org. Our stories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Hey folks, this is Mark White with The Mark White Show, and you can tune into The Mark White Show every Saturday from 11 a.m. 99 WQEE The Key, the home of Southern sports and talk.
Are you looking
looking for a reliable dental practice that not only cares about your teeth, but is friendly to work with? How about one that offers great deals and new patient promotions? Well, your search is over. Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton, Georgia is committed to giving you the biggest and brightest smile. Right now, get a $99 new patient special, including x-rays and exams. Maybe you're looking for veneers. Most Valuable Smiles veneer special includes one free veneer with every 5 purchased. Or get that bright white smile you've always wanted by taking advantage of an exclusive $100 off Zoom whitening treatment when you book today. And don't forget that 2022 is almost over. That means most insurance policies will reset by the new year, and to avoid losing that extra money, you need to use it or lose it. Book an appointment today with Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton to lock in these exclusive deals. Call 706-623-0318 or visit mostvaluablesmiles.com.
Enjoy sun-drenched days, epic stays, and plenty of room to roam in Greater Fort Lauderdale. Our hotels, attractions, and restaurants have taken the Visit Lauderdale's Safe and Clean pledge so you can relax and explore with confidence. When you're ready for that well-deserved staycation, our 23 miles of golden beaches await. Find wide-open spaces to hike, bike, kayak, and paddleboard. Visit your favorite attractions, then dine out in style in dining rooms or al fresco on waterfront patios. Learn more at sunny.org.
It all starts with just one thing. When recycling, rinse out jars and cans, and avoid recycling wax paper or paper soiled with food. This will reduce recycling contamination. Find tips and more at onethingus.com. What's your one thing?
Hey, sports fans. The Key has a brand new show. Braves Country is coming your way weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Drive time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We'll be talking the Atlanta Braves and Major League Baseball, along with everything important to sports fans in Braves Country. The SEC, ACC, Big Ten, and the National Football League, and the big sports news of the day. That's Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here on WQEE, The Key, 99.1 FM, and simulcasting on youtube.com/@Braves Country.
At Shell, we know from the time you get up to the time you wrap up,
good night,
there's a lot of meetups, eat-ups, and hurry-ups. So come to Shell and get 3 things done at once. Fill up with Shell V-Power Nitro Plus to help keep your engine running like new. Save up with the Fuel Rewards program and never pay full price for gas again. And snack up with in-store rewards to save even more at the pump. Make the most of the stop you need to make with Shell and engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline. See full terms and conditions at fuelrewards.com.
That's the sound of NyQuil Severe hard at work. NyQuil Severe is the best sleep with a cold medicine. No tossing and turning, just rest and recovery. So you're ready to take on tomorrow. For powerful relief of your worst cold and flu symptoms, try NyQuil Severe. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head, best sleep with a cold medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Hey, Braves fans. Thank you for listening to Braves Country Baseball. Hi, I'm Mac McGee, and we are here to bring you play-by-play, pitch-by-pitch of your Atlanta Braves, bringing you spring training and 2 to 3 games a week all season long. Please like and subscribe today. Braves Country Baseball.
Winter is the perfect time to start planning for your healthy, pest-free spring lawn with True Green, America's #1 lawn care company. True Green's science-based approach and local expertise will help give your lawn the year-round care it needs to be thick and weed-free. Go to truegreen.com. Just call 866-946-5956 or go to truegreen.com today and get a lawn to be proud of.
Hey, sports fans, it's Rod Peterson here, host of The Rod Peterson Show, inviting you to join us daily for 2 hours of Atlanta's funnest sports talk right here on WQEE. I say fun because it is. You've never heard a show like it because we make the listeners a part of the show every day between noon and 2 p.m. Eastern. You'll hear plenty of the best sports talk, including the latest on the Falcons, the Braves, and more. And who knows, you might even hear you. That's the Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon, right here on WQEE 99.1 FM.
It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neill, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Fridays, right here on 99.1 FM WQE.
Hey, sports fans. Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Drive time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. That's Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here on WQEE 99.1 FM. You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia.
Armchair. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good afternoon, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. Law enforcement agents confiscated over 600 fake championship rings across 4 major U.S. professional sports leagues and the NCAA from a South Carolina memorabilia store as a part of a seizure of counterfeit merchandise. The South Carolina Secretary of State announced the counterfeit goods could have fetched as much as $15 million in retail. The hefty price tag, the highest value seizure in the office's history, was driven by fake NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, and NCAA championship rings. What is not known is how many of those rings were being claimed by the Alabama Crimson Tide. Houston Cougars' Shannon Dawson is set to be named the Miami Hurricanes offensive coordinator. Last week, the Hurricanes hired Lance Guidry to be their defensive coordinator after Kevin Steele left for Alabama. Dawson has spent 4 seasons at Houston and was also at West Virginia previously. Dawson was promoted to OC QB coach at Houston in 2020. And after looking at the new bases that are coming to Major League Baseball this season, Red Sox manager Alex Cora says he agrees with MLB's new rules, but offered one notable quip on the first day. The bases, they're the bases, but wait till you see them. They look like a pizza box, to be honest with you. Major League Baseball has adopted a new series of rules that will be implemented this season, including increasing the size of the bases from 15 to 18 square inches. Kind of a light night on the hardwood in the NBA, but a great doubleheader on TNT. It all starts at 7:30. The Boston Celtics are at the Milwaukee Bucks. 2 top teams in the East collide. That starts off the doubleheader that will end with Warriors at Clippers. That game will tip off at 10 p.m. Warriors are on the outside looking in right now in the Western Conference playoffs with the NBA All-Star game just around the corner. We have a good night in college basketball. Starting at 6:30 Eastern, SEC Network, Vandy at South Carolina. Commodores are a 5-point favorite. ESPN2, 7 o'clock. Auburn, 17-8 on the year. They host Missouri, who's 19-6. War Damn Eagle, -6.5. And the LSU Tigers are at the Georgia Bulldogs. Time for the Bulldogs to hunker down. They're -4, 5-7 on the season. LSU comes in at 1-11. In the ACC, number 23, NC State is at Syracuse. Should be a good one. The Orange are a 1-point favorite. ESPN, 7 o'clock, Notre Dame at Duke. Blue Devils, 12-point favorite. And at 9 p.m. Eastern on the ACC Network, the Pittsburgh Panthers are a 9.5-point favorite versus Boston College. And with some pretty good clashes in top 25 action, 7 o'clock Eastern, FS1, Creighton at Providence. The Blue Jays are a 1-point favorite. Rock Chalk Jayhawk, number 5 in the land, and a 1.5-point favorite on the road at OK State. While number 12 Kansas State is at Oklahoma. The Wildcats are giving up 1. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for Braves Country right here on WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, simulcasting on youtube.com at Braves Country.
Armchair.
There's something kind of about a kid that's never played baseball.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and flat out deceived.
Why did you get so drunk?
You got drunk. I'm just really exhausted.
What's in that cup?
Mama Cokes.
Do you have any idea how important this is? We're trying to save the pump cup. Really? This is what you're doing? This is what you're doing?
Chief, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night. Try to take over the world.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Armchair.
YouTube Live.
Radio station.
The radio station you can call your own. Do you know what listeners like about our station?
I like everything. It's always on my radio.
We never stop the music, except for now, when I talk.
Listening to Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We're here live weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key, and simulcasting on youtube.com/at Braves Country. Your first choice for Southern sports. Good afternoon. I'm Mac McGee, and I don't know much, but I know one thing. If they said millions of dollars were confiscated in fake championship rings, that's got to be Alabama Crimson Tide and UCF
Armchair
Knights written all over that.
Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man. With a cool one in his head. Yeah, the armchair.
Hey, howdy, hi, and how the hell are you? Welcome to Braves Country HD on Armchair Quarterback Radio here on WQEE 99.1 FM. We've got a big day of sports to talk to you. Happy Valentine's Day to all of you and all of those in your life. As always, a special day as folks. Now, it is funny because there's levels of Valentine's Day. You know, as you get further and further in the relationship, I think it becomes more of a, hey, sweetie, happy Valentine's Day kind of high five as you're walking towards work, right? You know, when you're at the very beginning, you gotta suck up. I've been married for quite a while now, so we're kind of in that routine. We're like, what day does it fall on? A Tuesday? We'll celebrate it this weekend. So, because we knew we couldn't do it this past weekend, Super Bowl. And we didn't talk Super Bowl yesterday, as we never do the day after the Super Bowl. We call it the Super Bowl hangover, Super Bowl burnout, whatever you want to call it, football burnout. So second hour today, we are going to talk a little Super Bowl, little reactions. Joey's going to come on here in a little bit. We've got Nate Miller, Texas Rangers writer, and he's going to come on. We're going to talk some, pitchers and catchers report tomorrow for some teams. Thursday for the Atlanta Braves. So half the league reports tomorrow and the other half reports Thursday. The one thing I'll say about the Super Bowl commercials, mostly they were duds. But the one that I thought won the day by far was the Duncan with Ben Affleck and J-Lo rolling up and saying, is this where you go every day when you say you're going to work? That one won the day. I know everyone got sentimental over the farmer's dog or dog farmers or whatever it's called. But that to me, that's low hanging fruit. You can make everyone sappy over a dog and a kid in a commercial. That's 99 times out of 100. You have to really be bad to not make someone feel that. So yeah, my wife showed it to me later. I didn't see it live for whatever reason. I was walked out of the room or whatever. But the one that by far caught my attention was Ben Affleck and J-Lo. That was absolutely hilarious because it started off. I didn't think it was that funny, but when she pulls up, that made it absolutely classic. That to me is one of the best ones that they have done for the Super Bowl in recent memory. I can't remember one as funny as that because that one just absolutely caught me by surprise. Other than that, most of them were pretty much duds. And I'm actually rewatching the Super Bowl this afternoon as I was getting ready for the show and as we're doing the show. So some of I'll probably catch that I didn't see. I don't really get into the commercials, mainly because they've fallen flat over the last several years. And then you get that corny show that CBS does every year. I don't know who Boomer Esiason does it with, but he does it with somebody, some lady who's I don't know who she is. I'm guessing she's the Vanna White backup dancer. I don't know who she is, but that show sucks. I tried watching it last year because I'm a fan of Boomers, and I tried watching it, and I've tried watching it a couple times the last few years, and it's pretty much the same show. They just add like one or two commercials, but other than that, it's the same show. And you can insert any corny punchline. I would say this: don't ever waste your time watching that. It is garbage. It's just absolutely like, roll your eye kind of corny stuff. Look, I know why they do it. They're getting a paycheck, but why anybody watches it, I can't understand that one. The Super Bowl in general, I will say this: it's one of the best ones we've ever seen. And anytime you get a Super Bowl that comes down to the wire like that, you can't complain. So all in all, a game that had no feel to it, no buzz going up to the game, ended up living up to Super Bowl type hype. And I'd said it last week. I didn't think that it wasn't going to be a great game. There just wasn't that storyline that really got me. In years past, there's been that storyline. Philadelphia was not some kind of Cinderella story, right? Like we had last year with Cincinnati. You didn't have the type of storyline that you had back when the Bucks played Kansas City, and Kansas City was defending champions, and they were viewed as the favorite, but could the old man get it done one more time? So you didn't have that going on. You didn't have, back last time that the Eagles were in the Super Bowl, they were looked upon as a Cinderella. And they were trying to slay the big bad New England Patriots and Tom Brady. The one with Atlanta that I know a lot of us don't like to talk about because it ended in disaster, but you had storylines because Atlanta was a true Cinderella story. And I think it loses some oomph if you don't have some kind of underdog role going into the Super Bowl. Unless it is a collision course that you've been waiting for all year. But the Eagles and Chiefs didn't have that feel. They were the one seeds. There was no doubt about it. But that really wasn't the matchup I've been looking for all year long. I was wanting to see San Francisco get into the Super Bowl some way, shape, or form. And this would have assumed that they would have had a healthy quarterback in there. If it would have ended up being where they were going to have to run a wildcat, I definitely wouldn't have wanted that in there. But if they would have had a healthy quarterback, I wanted to see the story. Can Shanahan finally get it done? And I would have liked to have seen him rematch with Cincinnati. But I could have even lived with San Fran versus KC rematch. I could have lived with all the storylines that you could have built into Buffalo making the Super Bowl. If the Cowboys had somehow snuck in, there was just something flat about Kansas City versus the Eagles. It was almost like the way the NBA playoffs have turned out the last several years, where you're like, I know before the season starts, it's going to be 2 of 3 teams that are going to be in the NBA Finals. Maybe 4, maybe a 5th, but not realistically. Every year there's 4 teams-ish, give or take 1. So a year where you think it's wide open in the NBA, there's 5 teams that can make it in the finals. In the year where it's not as wide open, there's 3. but it never has the open door feel that the NFL does at the beginning of the season. And it doesn't have the open feel that Major League Baseball's playoffs have had over the last several years. Now that you have so many more entrants into it, the World Series is going to become a real March Madness type of dance. And I feel like that the NHL Stanley Cup championships, the playoffs, the Stanley Cup playoffs, but then the Stanley Cup finals, I feel like that always has a Wild West feel to it. You can't just pencil in 2 or 3 teams, because in a game that is played that fast and that low scoring, anything's up for grabs, right? So that's kind of where I am with this Super Bowl. It was a great Super Bowl. When it's all said and done, the annals of time will show that it was a greatly played Super Bowl by both quarterbacks. It was a fun Super Bowl. But there was no actual buzz to it, and that was weird. And I don't know, maybe it's because we didn't have Tyreek Hill with the Chiefs. But if you would have given me any other combination, I would have been very fired up to watch this Super Bowl. It was just Kansas City, Philly didn't do it for me. And here's hoping we don't get a rematch next year, because nobody wants that. I want to see new blood in there. And now Kansas City, now that they've won, and look, I took them. I hit my bet again. I've done pretty well with these Super Bowl predictions over the years. And I told you my best bet on the Sunday show was give me Kansas City and the point in my pocket. I was like, no, I'm not going to take it against Patrick. You're going to be Patrick Mahomes and the points? I'm good. And then, of course, my other one was the Kansas City and the over. So those were my 2 locks on Sunday, and they both hit. But when it's all said and done, I want to see drama heading into the Super Bowl. We just didn't get it. So anyways, we've got a great show on tap, and it's a little Valentine's thing. We're going to talk about what we love, not just on our teams, but other teams. We're going to talk about the storylines going into Major League Baseball's 2023 season. There's a bunch of them you can pick from. And we'll get Joey's reaction on the Super Bowl here in just a little bit. But coming up is Nate Miller of the Texas Rangers. We're going to talk some baseball. Pitchers and catchers report mañana. And most of them are already at the facility. We will be back in a flash. Keep it locked in here on Braves Country and Braves Country HD, wherever you stream, 99.1 FM.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
I apologize for the distractions.
The Dixie Handle Company, 5 generations of the Strickland family, have produced quality hardwood farm and garden tools, wooden shutters, and custom furniture. This small business has been owned and operated since 1992 and ships to customers across the world. If you're looking for the highest quality tool handles, Dixie Handle Company is your place. Every item is hand-picked to your specifications. If it's made of wood, they do it. Call now, 931-722-3395. That's 931-722-3395. Or go online to DixieHandle.com. The Dixie Handle Company. Welcome to Craftsmanship, a proud sponsor of Braves Country Baseball.
Whenever I bring home Entenmann's Little Bites muffins... Little Bites? That's right, sweetie. Can you just give Mommy a minute?
I love Little Bites.
I know you do, but we're doing a commercial right now, okay?
Got it.
As I was saying, whenever I bring home you-know-what, you-know-who gets pretty excited. And so do I. Little Bites muffins are made with real ingredients, no high-fructose corn syrup, and are baked moist and delicious.
I love Little Bites.
Here you go.
Yes.
Entenmann's Little Bites muffins. The perfect portion of happiness.
Hey, Braves fans, the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel are bringing you Braves Baseball all season long. Hi, I'm Mac McGee, and I'll be bringing you Braves Baseball play-by-play for the Braves fans out there, or all of Braves country. So pull up an armchair and join us for Braves Country Baseball, first pitch to last pitch, Tuesday and Friday nights, right here on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel. Welcome back to Braves Country. Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks, weekdays 3 to 5 p.m., drive time on WQEE.
As you know, Monty, Vaughn's been working on a couple of new pitches, the Eliminator and the Humiliator, to complement his fastball, the Terminator. I heard that. Dynamite drop in, Monty.
Welcome back. Oh, baby. Pitchers and catchers reporting mañana, and here is Nate Miller getting ready for another long season with the Texas Rangers. Nate, how the hell are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
You're going to get down there. It's in a few weeks, right?
Yeah. Hopefully, I'm still trying to raise a little bit of money for my lodging expenses. So it's kind of up in the air at the moment, but should everything work out, I'll be going down there from March 6th through the 14th.
Okay. So at that point, well, that's right as the WBC begins. So anyone involved in the WBC, you obviously won't catch. But where are you hoping to be at? Arizona?
Yes. Surprise, Arizona, where the Rangers and the Kansas City Royals share a complex.
Okay. I'm trying to remember the WBC. I know it's starting out west. US. Is it Arizona that they're going?
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, I have a friend who's covering it. So.
Is it going to be played at the Diamondback Stadium, I'm assuming?
Yes, some of it.
Okay.
At least the Arizona portion. I think part of it's being played in Miami too.
Yeah. Towards the end, assuming that they continue to advance, it'll be over here towards my neck of the woods in Miami.
Right.
But Miami's not nearly as close as folks think it is. When they hear that I live in Jacksonville, Florida, go, hey, you go to Miami much? It's actually closer to get to Atlanta. I'm about an hour closer to Atlanta than I am to Miami. So
interesting. Okay.
And it's kind of the old saying that Yogi Berra used to have with New York that we have with Miami, that nobody goes to Miami. It's too crowded, right? It's just like it's just an area that you just, and you don't go there for baseball because it is a terrible baseball town. It really is dumbfounding that is where they choose. I get some of the demographics on why they're pointing to go there to do this, but I think they do a disservice to baseball to not move it around a little bit. It was in Miami last time. I really feel like that they need to move it around and get some of the other cities in the U.S. involved in this.
Yeah.
That's great that they're going to Arizona a little bit, but going to Arizona and going to Florida as your two main spots for the WBC, well, that's just basically, I get they're probably doing it because it's easier for some players because of the spring training aspect of it.
Yeah.
But if you really want to get the entire nation into this thing, you need to have some games down the road scheduled to go to places, put it in New York, put it in LA, put it in Chicago. Put them in some of the smaller towns that they'd probably go bananas for it. Kansas City, right?
It's still going to be pretty cold in places like Chicago and New York around that time of year.
Yeah, I guess I get that argument, but so many of these places are starting to build domes that you can kind of get around that. So yeah, I get that argument of it, but Atlanta's doable, Texas is doable.
Yeah. Yep.
St. Louis would be a little cold, but anywhere out west, it's going to be about it's 70 degrees and sunny in California no matter what day of the year it is. So you can do it in LA. You could do it in San Diego.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
So I would like to see it expand because I really love the WBC.
Mm-hmm.
I get into it, but I'd like to see more people into it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
That's why I think Derek Jeter left Miami. He's just not used to losing.
Well, he's also not used to indifference.
Yeah.
Because one of the reasons why he took off was because there was a big thing right before he stepped down where he was upset on what their budget was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't that he thought that they could get up there and spend with the Yankees and the Mets, right?
Right.
But he was like, man, I mean, at some point, can we quit clipping coupons? What are we building to?
Now he knows how Billy Bean felt all those years. Still does.
By the way, if folks have missed it, Jonathan Gannon, defensive coordinator for the Eagles, is being named the new head coach for the Arizona Cardinals. New 5-year deal. That's breaking news that came across about 30 minutes ago. I don't think I squeezed that in at the top of the show. So that's been confirmed by Adam Schefter. So I don't know. You know what? We've got a Cardinal fan that's on here every week, so we'll get his takeaway from it. I think the whole thing's a disaster. Arizona Cardinals are going to be bad for a really long time, and good for them that they tricked someone into leaving a championship type team to come out there and coach that disaster. But I'm sure that'll be a hot topic if you do make it out to Arizona here in a couple of weeks. That
sure.
All the fans out there who are probably more fans right now, a little more excited about their Suns than they are their Cardinals at this point, or their Diamondbacks.
Right.
I thought it'd be a little fun since this is Valentine's Day to talk about players we love. We're going to start off with picking a couple of players from our favorite teams. Nate's a Rangers guy. I'm a Braves guy. And then we were going to kind of turn the table and give players that we love that are on opposite teams that we don't pull for. And I even picked players in my division, which I almost wasn't going to do that. I said, you know what? I'm going to make this hurt. So I'm curious, who are your top 2 guys that you are looking forward to, that you love watching for the Texas Rangers here in 2023?
For the Texas Rangers? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. Adolis Garcia. Really good outfielder, really good power hitter, and he's a lot of fun to watch. Really good interviewer if you know Spanish. So, he's a good all around player. He's not really a 5-tool guy, but he's got a little bit of speed. He's got a lot of power, and he's just a really good defensive outfielder as well.
Yeah, I've had him in on my fantasy teams from time to time, and I know that he's a guy that gets around 30 home runs a year, which is nothing to sneeze at.
No,
and now he doesn't steal a lot of bases, right?
No, he doesn't. He like I said, he's got a little bit of speed, but he really doesn't use it that much.
The one thing, because I don't get a chance to watch a lot of Texas games, what's he like on defense?
He's really good. I don't have his fielding numbers in front of me, but I think he committed maybe 2 errors last year.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
He's sitting there. My first one for the Braves, as much as I do like Acuna, I couldn't put him on my top 2, and the reason is stuff like this, the junk that he pulled in the playoffs where he's watching the game when he should be back out of Paris on the play. And I like defense as much as I like anything else. So my first guy I went with was Money Michael Harris. He's so fun to watch, incredible defensive center fielder. I would suggest if folks have not watched the Braves day in and day out this past season, when they're on, center field is where you want your eyes at, is right. Michael Harris. And they've locked him up long term, which is exciting to know that a kid from Atlanta is going to be a Brave for the next decade. Who is your number 2 guy?
Number 2 guy is Marcus Semien.
I am surprised Jacob deGrom did not make the list. Wow.
I haven't seen him play yet.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Fair
Yeah. He's been in the.
enough. Not Corey Seager over Simeon?
I love Seager as well, but I loved what I saw from Simeon last year because he started off slow and then he just got on a tear right after the All-Star break.
Brutally slow.
Yes.
So he was my second base shortstop on my dynasty team.
Right.
And it was absolutely torture, but I refused to drop him. I just said I couldn't do it because I knew what he had done the year before. He'd carried me to the championship the year before. And you're right, he did get hot finally on the other side of it.
Yeah.
I'm already in a couple of best ball drafts with the baseball, and I've already taken Seager in one.
Nice.
I think his floor is what he did last year for Texas. I think he's gonna have a much better year this year.
I do like Seager. Really good guy. He actually last year I was down on the field for batting practice. I had just gotten my head shaved, and he rubbed my head for good luck before he got in the cage. He homered and doubled twice that night.
Well, all I know is that when he signed with Texas, it was a sigh of relief because I could not stand facing him when he was with the Dodgers.
Sure.
Because we normally are playing the Dodgers for all the marbles.
Mm-hmm.
And he was it 2020 in the NLCS where he just absolutely butchered us.
Mm-hmm.
So I was so happy to see him go.
Yeah.
And my number 2 guy for the Braves this year, going into this year, it's going to have to be the stash, man. Spencer Strider, strikeout machine. I think it's also awesome that he's not a very big guy. He's not your prototypical strikeout guy. Normally your strikeout guys are like DeGrom, right? Sure. They're tall drinks of water and they're flinging it. And Strider is just a compact, is a compact, they call him the stash. They call him the quad father. If you're ever paying attention to him, check his legs out, man. He is an absolute horse.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he's going to have a very good opportunity if he can stay healthy and get the innings he should get. He has every chance of anybody in the National League this year to end up with the Cy Young Award.
Okay, nice.
All right. The teams that don't play for the Rangers, that don't play for the Braves, but we say, look, I can't help it, man. I'm a fan. I watch them. I like them. And I didn't give you that assignment because I didn't think of it till afterwards. I ain't bombarding y'all with multiple emails and stuff. So I took players in the Braves division.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I actually took one for each team, but I know I told you to just come up with a couple. So I'll hit you with my first 2, then you give me yours, and then I'll hit you with the last 2. So the first 2 that I picked for players that are playing in the NL East that do not play for the Atlanta Braves that I'm just a fan of. The first one, I'll hit us light. Washington Nationals, Joey Meneses. That kid's got a stroke. That kid is an absolute stroke. And he came up late in the middle of the year last year, and he played some first base, played some outfield. I don't know what the plan will be for this year, but he is a natural born hitter. What he reminds me of is a more fluid version of Matt Olson. He's just absolutely, if you play any fantasy baseball this year and you're looking for someone at the bottom of the barrel, that's a guy. That's a guy to keep an eye on. I'm not saying overpay for him. Don't go crazy. He's a national, right? Don't go bananas. But if you're looking down towards the bottom and you're like, you know what? I'm going to take a chance on a guy. Joey Meneses is a fun one. And then my other guy, I'm going to take, I'll go with the Phillies, Kyle Schwarber. He's just a professional hitter. I know he stinks at defense, but I also love the fact that he makes fun of it. If you remember a couple of years ago when he came over, I can't remember if that was with Boston or if that was with Philadelphia, but he had such a hard time in the field. He finally made a play and he got he got the old Bronx cheer. I'm almost positive Boston. He got the old Bronx cheer from the from the Boston crowd, and he had fun with it because he even did a bow and everything because he finally made a routine play in the field. So I love Schwarber, and when he got into it with Angel Hernandez, I love everything about Schwarber. All right, who are your guys that don't play on for Texas?
Okay, yet
Everybody.
Texas is getting everybody over $700 million spent the last couple of years.
They got that J.R. Ewing money.
Yeah, right. But my first guy, simply because I grew up in Michigan, he's slowed down in recent years, but I'm gonna have to go with Miguel Cabrera.
Miguel Cabrera, okay.
Mm-hmm.
He is definitely slowed down.
Yep. And, like, I had to give it to him. I mean, he's going into his last year. He's literally on his last legs, and it's just, I'm not really picking him for the player he is now. I'm picking him for the player that he has been.
There was a time where he was the deadliest bat.
Yes.
What would you say, 7 years ago?
Yeah.
Where it was like, I don't even know how you get this guy out. Like, he was just unbelievable. And then he got chunked out over the offseason one year and came back, and his bat's been slow ever since.
Yeah. One of my favorite moments of his, I think it was 2014, either 2013 or 2014. It was Mariano Rivera's last season. And Cabrera took him deep at Yankee Stadium in like the last 2 weeks of that season. He hit it to dead center field. It tied up the game. And I think it tied up the game at 3-3. And the Tigers won that game. And it denied Cabrera, or not Cabrera, Rivera, like his 42nd save.
It's a little surprising that all those years when they had those powerhouses in Detroit that they never walked away with it all. Now he did get the ring in Miami before they traded him, I believe.
Yes, his rookie year, actually.
Yeah, 2003, correct?
2003.
Yeah. But they got to it twice, right? With
yeah, they got to it. They got to it twice. 2006 against the Cardinals, and then 2012 against the Giants.
Right.
Yeah.
Probably my least watched World Series of all time was Giants versus the Tigers. Probably because it really came down to I didn't honestly care.
Yeah.
And you talk about it. So I was talking about how this past Super Bowl had no buzz. That World Series had no buzz. I could not get in. I couldn't. And not to mention the fact it wasn't even a good World Series. It was like one of the dullest World Series of all time. And I remember watching a couple of games, but I can't tell you anything that happened in those games. Like nothing. Like even the Texas Cardinals World Series in 11 that I know, Ranger fans probably don't like to remember, but that was an exciting World Series. That was an absolute exciting World Series. And that's coming from someone who is not really someone who follows Rangers baseball. But I was pulling for them in that series. There were some guys on that team that I wanted to see get a ring. And just the unbelievable bad defense that took place in right field. Was that game 6 that they blew that, or was that game 7?
I believe it was game 6.
Okay. But regardless, an exciting World Series. And David Freese just somehow was like superhuman for like a week and a half.
Yeah.
Wasn't worth a crap after that or before. But he was superhuman during that time period. Kind of reminds me of Jorge Soler. Everybody wants to keep bringing back Jorge Soler. Yeah. Jorge Soler, bring him back, lock him down. It's like, you don't understand Jorge Soler, what you saw in October of 2021. That's not Jorge Soler. That's not who he is.
Yeah.
So you're going Cabrera, and who's your next guy?
Joey Votto.
He's fun.
He is fun. He's a great, he's a great player, but I'm kind of like, baseball is kind of like it's a little bit of a character sport with me. I like to see how guys are off the field as well. and he's great off the field, especially like when he's doing interviews and stuff like that. Like, I genuinely believe he wants to, go into broadcasting when he's done playing.
Yeah. Oh, I could definitely see him in a booth.
Yeah, me too.
He would be phenomenal in a booth.
Mm-hmm.
Any way you could get Joe Davis out of the booth and put someone else in. Now, I don't know if Votto could do play-by-play, but any way they could get Joe Davis out of the Fox booth for the playoffs would be a win.
Yep. And the part that I like about Joey Votto is that he's
quick wit.
He's quick wit, but he's a great player, and he does it quietly. He's not one of these guys who just is all flash, and he just keeps his head down.
Yeah, well, and really, if you look at his game, he doesn't even have the opportunity to be flashy because his numbers aren't flashy.
Right.
He's just solid. He'll stumble into the Hall of Fame, but he's never at any point during his career ever been a top 5 player. Right? He's just one of those guys that's his numbers will accumulate to where he'll get in, but he'll also be the guy that when people are looking for certain numbers, they're going to be pounding the table saying he shouldn't be in.
Yeah,
I would probably vote him in just because when you look at the accumulation of what he's done. But I love the fact that he's just so funny. I've seen him on videos, TikTok videos and stuff like that. My favorite one that I've told a few times is where he's standing on the on deck circle. And one of the guys in the stand says, "Hey," and this has only been a couple of years ago. He goes, "Hey Joey." Joey Votto finally turns around. He's taking his swings. He goes, "I remember when you were good." And Votto looked back to him and goes, "I remember when you were thin."
Ooh.
He's great. My other two guys, real quick. If I'm taking one from the Mets, it's Brandon Nimmo. I've talked about this. I love his approach to the plate. Anybody who fights off and does it will not just accept, especially a leadoff hitter, who will not just accept a strikeout is my kind of guy, right? And he goes up there, he works the count. And then for the Marlins, give me some Jazz Chisholm. He's fun to watch. I'm excited to see what he can do in center field. And he's funny. I mean, if you get a chance to watch him in any kind of interviews, he's another natural born television guy.
They should have used a different photo for him on MLB The Show, though. He's the cover.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard that he's going to be on it. Or
look it up, and you'll see what I mean.
I'll do it at the break. Okay. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the big storylines as we head into pitchers and catchers reporting. Oh, it's already here. Baseball season. We'll be back in a flash.
He only has 3 rings.
Hockey season, and that means new merch over at OurDragonsMerch.com. Get the latest designs and some of our fun new souvenirs ahead of what's sure to be a great hockey season. Celebrate another season of River Dragons hockey by getting a new look to wear on game days, or surprise the big-time sports fan in your life with a new keepsake that will make them a River Dragons fan for life. Order online right now at OurDragonsMerch.com. That's the letter R, DragonsMerch.com. We'll see you at the rink.
Hey, sports fans, it's Rod Peterson here, host of The Rod Peterson Show, inviting you to join us daily for 2 hours of Atlanta's funnest sports talk right here on WQEE. I say fun because it is. You've never heard a show like it because we make the listeners a part of the show every day between noon and 2 p.m. Eastern. You'll hear plenty of the best sports talk, including the latest on the Falcons, the Braves, and more. And who knows, you might even hear you. That's the Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon, right here on WQEE 99.1 FM.
Le'Veon Bell, he put out a single for people to listen to on Twitter of a rap album that he's really proud of. He asked people to critique it. Keenan Allen, the receiver of the Chargers, came back with the trash emoji.
Appreciate your honesty.
And what's even better, and I can't do it justice because we're on radio, you've got to see the video. The video that he put up. Oh, my God. It's like the most funny and exciting thing I have ever seen because it's like really bad late 80s, early 90s rap video. But anyways, the video is the best part of the whole thing. He's got a hoodie on. It's staged almost like black and white. He's like under a bridge somewhere where there's like a bonfire going.
Hard times.
So like, yeah.
Hard times.
Hard times for a guy making millions.
He can relate.
But the funniest part is when he's got the hoodie on, he's doing poses and stuff like that and kind of jiving around. And then at This is the funniest part. Out of nowhere, sorry, I can't get it out. He comes up from under the screen. So in other words, like
Like
his,
from the Muppets or something?
almost like the Muppets.
When you see just the figure just come straight up.
Yes, the gig comes straight up while he's also in the background.
Uh-huh.
It's like the worst thing put together ever. I don't know how to edit a video. We could do better than this. I'm telling you.
Who's the director, Pouncey?
Armchair.
Welcome back to Braves Country. Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays, 3 to 5 p.m. Drive time on WQEE.
Hey, this is not a test. This is rock and roll. Time to rock it from the Delta to the DMZ. Hey, is it a little too early for being that loud? Hey, too late. It's 0600. What's the O stand for? Oh, my God, it's early. Hey, you know what I mean. Too much?
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man.
Welcome back. We're taking you all the way to 5 o'clock Eastern, where Sports Map Radio takes over, First Name Sports, and then make sure to get your morning started right here on 99.1 FM, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m., Ryan O Radio Penitentiary. And noon to 2, you got the Scott Peterson Show. And then, of course, 2 to 3, you got Sports Beat. So we'll be back 3 to 5. And tomorrow officially, I think I said Scott, it's Rod Peterson Show. I've got Scott Peterson on the brain. The tomorrow pitchers and catchers report. And pitchers and catchers for half it. Now, is Texas coming in tomorrow?
Yes, they are.
Okay. Braves go Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
So that to me is when it really, but it's funny. I swear it feels like the Braves are always late because I got a big Red Sox fan. And so it has nothing to do with what state you're in, because you would think, well, half would report if they were in the Grapefruit League and the other half in the Cactus League, but that's not how it works.
Mm-hmm.
But he's always able to get on Facebook or whatever the day before I do, saying pitchers and catchers reporting, always makes a big deal about it. And I'm like, no, they don't. They don't report today. No.
Right.
The wannabes do, but the real boys, they show up Thursday. And then randomly Cleveland on Friday. I don't know what the deal is, why Cleveland is 2 days off from everybody. But then you get everyone else is going to report next Monday and Tuesday, and you get your first taste of spring training. There's a couple of games on Friday, but the first spring training is going to be this coming or a week from Saturday.
Right.
And programming note, we are going to do the game, it looks like, on Braves Country HD. So spring training will begin with a bang. I went over my schedule for this upcoming year to make sure what games that I would be able to carry around to all the other stuff that I do. And it's quite a list. And I decided I'm not going to try to share that whole schedule to everybody at once. I'm just going to do it week by week and say, hey, this coming week, we're doing these games. But it's basically breaking down to about 4 games a week. So between that and the show and everything else, it's going to be a busy, busy summer. All right. There's a lot of storylines. I mean, you could pick from a million. By the way, we've got the Jazz Chisholm picture up. So what is it you don't like about this? Because this to me is Jazz Chisholm.
Oh, it is Jazz Chisholm. I just like it. It just doesn't say the show to me, you know, where's the intensity, where's the intense batting stance and like the intense, defense.
Oh yeah. He's nothing about that.
Yeah.
He's all about what you see,
Oh yeah, I know. But
I think one of the coolest things about him, and maybe it's being down here and hearing a lot of the games, but he's got a really, really cool relationship with his grandmother.
Yeah.
She comes to a lot of the games. I don't know if it's every game, but it's a lot of the games.
Mm-hmm.
And she's the one that kind of told him to embrace who he is, and that's why he's so flashy and what.
Right.
He volunteered. He went to the Marlins and said, "Look, when they made the trade for Arraez from Minnesota, there was questions. Well, where are you going to fit Luis in? Is he going to be a DH? Are you going to try to slide him across the infield?" And he went to them and said, "Put me in center. I'll do it."
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that didn't make JJ Bleday too happy because that sent JJ Bleday packing. JJ Bleday was the center fielder. Now he gone.
Right.
So I'm sure Bleday was like, whoa. What is this? But anyways, I think the Oakland A's got themselves a pretty good piece in that trade. I think Bleday is going to be a pretty solid player, but I also think that the Marlins with that trade, AJ Puck, the kid the sky is the limit for Puck.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest question with him has always been work ethic, and the biggest ability is availability. He's hurt a lot.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the biggest question, but I am excited to see how that plays out. But I can't imagine that's one of your big stories. So give me your first big storyline of the 2023 season that you're excited about.
Okay. Well, it's big to Texas Rangers fans. It's kind of a quiet one, to be honest with you. Bubba Thompson, he outfielder for the Rangers, and it's not really quite known if he'll make the team yet, but he tore it up last year. He had 18 stolen bases after the All-Star break.
18?
Yeah.
Wow.
He came up August 4th and stole 18 bases from then until October 5th.
Is he projected to be a starter?
Yes.
And what position again?
Outfield. He can play all three outfield positions.
So just okay. So they don't really know where he's going to be, but somewhere in the extra. And what's his name again? Bubba Miller?
Bubba Thompson.
Oh, Bubba Thompson. Either way, it doesn't sound like a fast guy.
But he is.
Bubba Thompson. I hope Bubba Thompson getting on the base paths. I have a thought of like a guy in like a beer softball league, Bubba Thompson.
Yeah. But you look at him and he's a stick, basically.
Real quick, I do want to hit breaking news that just happened, which was expected. So we don't have to stop what we're doing. But the Las Vegas Raiders have officially released Derek Carr. So anyways. Okay, so Bubba Thompson. I'm going to keep an eye on this guy.
Yeah.
And you're expecting him to be not just like a platoon guy, but an actual starter?
Yeah. Yeah.
I might have to think about him in best ball because it gets towards the end where there's like, the pickings are slim.
Yeah.
And if you're telling me a guy had 18 stolen bases, that's phenomenal.
In a 2-month span.
That's I mean, and as everyone heard in the sports break, the bases, according to Joey Cora, look like pizza boxes. So, I mean, you're talking about that's probably worth another 3 or 4 bases right there over that time span. My number one storyline that I'm looking at for this season has to do with your division, just not your team. The Shohei Ohtani watch, because when the Angels fall out of it, which I fully expect them to do because they are the Angels, the bidding war to make a trade for Ohtani is going to be astronomical.
I agree.
If you want to rebuild your team, I would do it now, but I understand why they may wait to see who's in it and who really believes they have a chance to win it. Because that is the rental of all rentals. You're going to get a guy you can put in your rotation. You're going to get a guy you can throw at DH.
Where do you think he'll go?
Long term, I think he's a Dodger.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that they make the trade for him this year. This season, I don't think they'll trade him. I'm going to take a dart throw and say somewhere like the Mets.
Okay.
Now, whether or not they have the pieces they want, that's going to be the biggest question.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's not the Mets, a team that would be going all in, well, I'll tell you who doesn't care if he clears the cupboard is the Phillies and Dombrowski.
Yeah.
That guy's done nothing. Every place he's ever been, he's won, but
Mhm.
he's gutted the farm system. And afterwards, when he leaves, what's left standing is just barren. I mean, ask the Detroit Tigers, right?
Yep.
So that would be my guess. Is probably, I just haven't looked at their farm systems and what they have left. If it's not that, now as far as a team that could make a trade and really think that they could actually land him long term, I've heard these rumblings, the Cubs,
Mm-hmm.
because they definitely have the pieces to bring him over. But if you make that big trade near the Cubs, you better re-sign him.
Right.
What is your next big storyline that you're excited for 2023?
I want, kind of going back to Marcus Semien a little bit. Will he have another slow start and then just another, crazy finish, or will he start fast and finish slow?
It's really strange, and you would think these players would change what they do or whatever, but the guys that start slow always start slow, and it's the strangest thing in baseball. And you could almost put it like clockwork that regardless, however Semien starts, he always has a great second half. I mean, it's been back from his days in Oakland. It's like that. And I've picked him up regularly in fantasy baseball over the years because the guy who has him gets sick and tired of him sucking the blood out of his team and just drops him.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, skirt, let's go. But I remember specifically, I won one year, and the guy that I beat the guy in the championship that dropped him. Okay. We were talking about it down the road, and he goes, "Man, I couldn't do it." I said, "I don't blame you." I was like, he was absolutely awful.
Mm-hmm.
He started to catch fire about a week after he dropped him, and I had just picked him up, and I was sitting him on my bench. Someone got injured. I can't remember what it was. I slid him down into the IR spot and put him in.
Right.
And he got so red hot, I never took him out of the lineup again.
Mm-hmm.
My next one would be the young Orioles. I am really excited to see what the Baltimore Orioles are going to do this year.
Sure.
Are they going to take that next step? Because they are a young, fun team. And they've got some guys that are coming that, not just the Adley Rushmans of the world, but they have got a loaded young roster. They've got a great farm system.
Yeah.
They've got a farm system that could go get an Ohtani. I just don't think they would ever pay him $500 million.
Sure.
But that would be a fun story if Ohtani ever came east.
Do you think anybody will pay Ohtani $500 million?
Oh, yes. He's absolutely getting it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to pay some of these guys 36, 37, 40 million, and they can only play one position,
yeah,
Ohtani's getting at least that. I think that's the low water mark. I think you start with 10 years, 500 million. You hope he takes that.
I would.
I don't think he'll have to. I think this guy's going to break the bank for what we know to be sports contracts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how long of a contract he'll get, but I would suspect the bare minimum is 10 years and the bare minimum is 50 a year.
Wow.
And it wouldn't shock me if he flirted with 60, 65 a year.
Mm-hmm.
Which is hard to fathom, but the guy can play two positions. So he saves you a roster spot in the fact that if you have him on that roster being able to do both, then you can pay some bozo at league minimum to fill in for him.
Yeah.
Do you have any others?
No, I'm actually good.
All right, I've got one more. It's just the NL East race. The NL East race between Braves, Phillies, Mets is going to be incredible, and the Marlins might be sneaky good. Nationals is going to be atrocious, but the Marlins might be sneaky good. I like what they're doing in Miami. I just don't know if they're going to have the offensive output, but it should be a really, really fun summer in the East. I just hope it's fun in a good way where I'm happy because I'm waking up most mornings with a W, and not that fun in a bad way. You're like, we came so close.
Right.
Because this is one outside the maybe the AL East is the best division in baseball, but the NL East is right there neck and neck.
Sure.
What is your walk-off for the day, sir?
My walk-off for the day is, you mentioned him earlier. Like, it's not that I don't love him. I am genuinely excited to see Jacob deGrom pitch.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
I would have – there's a part of me that was hoping, although I knew it wasn't possible, that he would be a Brave.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a fun watch.
Yeah.
He's going to be a lot more fun in a Rangers uniform than a Mets uniform.
Yeah.
I could finally draft him.
Yeah. And I think he wanted to come to the American League for a while. I think that was part of it.
Yeah. Well, I think he wanted to come to Texas.
Yeah.
I think he's smart. He's from Florida.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to pay state taxes. All right, brother. We got to jam out of here. Joey's on the way. We'll see you next week.
Right.
Good catching up with you. Yep. And we will be back in a flash here on Braves Country and Braves Country HD, wherever you stream. You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia.
Armchair.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good afternoon, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. Law enforcement agents confiscated over 600 fake championship rings across 4 major U.S. professional sports leagues and the NCAA from a South Carolina memorabilia store as a part of a seizure of counterfeit merchandise. The South Carolina Secretary of State announced the counterfeit goods could have fetched as much as $15 million in retail. The hefty price tag, the highest value seizure in the office's history, was driven by fake NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, and NCAA championship rings. What is not known is how many of those rings were being claimed by the Alabama Crimson Tide. Houston Cougars' Shannon Dawson is set to be named the Miami Hurricanes offensive coordinator. Last week, the Hurricanes hired Lance Guidry to be their defensive coordinator after Kevin Steele left for Alabama. Dawson has spent 4 seasons at Houston and was also at West Virginia previously. Dawson was promoted to OC QB coach at Houston in 2020. And after looking at the new bases that are coming to Major League Baseball this season, Red Sox manager Alex Cora says he agrees with MLB's new rules, but offered one notable quip on the first day. The bases, they're the bases, but wait till you see them. They look like a pizza box, to be honest with you. Major League Baseball has adopted a new series of rules that will be implemented this season, including increasing the size of the bases from 15 to 18 square inches. Kind of a light night on the hardwood in the NBA, but a great doubleheader on TNT. It all starts at 7:30. The Boston Celtics are at the Milwaukee Bucks. 2 top teams in the East collide. That starts off the doubleheader that will end with Warriors at Clippers. That game will tip off at 10 p.m. Warriors are on the outside looking in right now in the Western Conference playoffs with the NBA All-Star game just around the corner. We have a good night in college basketball. Starting at 6:30 Eastern, SEC Network, Vandy at South Carolina. Commodores are a 5-point favorite. ESPN2, 7 o'clock. Auburn, 17-8 on the year. They host Missouri, who's 19-6. War Damn Eagle, -6.5. And the LSU Tigers are at the Georgia Bulldogs. Time for the Bulldogs to hunker down. They're -4, 5-7 on the season. LSU comes in at 1-11. In the ACC, number 23, NC State is at Syracuse. Should be a good one. The Orange are a 1-point favorite. ESPN, 7 o'clock, Notre Dame at Duke. Blue Devils, 12-point favorite, and at 9 p.m. Eastern on the ACC Network, the Pittsburgh Panthers are a 9.5-point favorite versus Boston College. And with some pretty good clashes in top 25 action, 7 o'clock Eastern, FS1, Creighton at Providence. The Blue Jays are a 1-point favorite. Rock Chalk Jayhawk, number 5 in the land, and a 1.5-point favorite on the road at OK State. While number 12 Kansas State is at Oklahoma. The Wildcats are giving up 1. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for Braves Country right here on WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, simulcasting on youtube.com at Braves Country.
It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neill, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
Hockey season, and that means new merch over at ourdragonsmerch.com. Get the latest designs and some of our fun new souvenirs ahead of what's sure to be a great hockey season. Celebrate another season of River Dragons hockey by getting a new look to wear on game days, or surprise the big-time sports fan in your life with a new keepsake that will make them a River Dragons fan for life. Order online right now at ourdragonsmerch.com. That's the letter R, dragonsmerch.com. We'll see you at the rink.
Hey, sports fans, it's Rod Peterson here, host of The Rod Peterson Show, inviting you to join us daily for 2 hours of Atlanta's funnest sports talk right here on WQEE. I say fun because it is. You've never heard a show like it because we make the listeners a part of the show every day between noon and 2 p.m. Eastern. You'll hear plenty of the best sports talk, including the latest on the Falcons, the Braves, and more. And who knows, you might even hear you. That's the Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon, right here on WQEE 99.1 FM.
Want to chime in? Give us a call. 678-960-9700. That's 678-960-9700. Welcome back to Braves Country. Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks, weekdays, 3 to 5 p.m., drive time on WQEE. Yeah, baby! Kansas City Chiefs, Super Bowl champs, Atlanta Braves, heading back to the World Series. Knowles. Well, I'm not going to go that crazy. How are you, Joey?
I'm doing a lot better now that my Indianapolis Colts have a head coach. Especially, you know what? Even though that obviously the Eagles lost the Super Bowl, I'm glad I only touched the first half on that one instead of the whole game. But, I mean, just another example how this guy Shane Steichen, seems to call good plays. He's been doing that for a while now with Jalen Hurts. And anything could happen. This could be a great hire. This could be a terrible hire. I'm just glad we got it out of the way, and I'm pretty happy from what I see on the surfaces to this point.
I see the question by Mav asking about Todd Monken leaving Georgia to go to the Baltimore Ravens. And, of course, Monken was the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach for Georgia for the past 3 seasons. So it is a significant loss. I'm not going to skate past that. But I just think that Georgia is just so loaded. I don't think they're going to miss a beat necessarily. I do wonder, with Monken coming in, if that means that they may be looking to pivot away from Lamar Jackson. Because I don't see his offense being the type, unless he's just going to change his philosophy, I don't see his offense being the type that's kind of built for Lamar Jackson. And that still makes me wonder if we're going to get what I've been predicting for several weeks now, Lamar Jackson to the Atlanta Falcons.
And hey, doesn't it seem that each day goes by that Lamar is probably headed out of town? I mean, it's kind of wild that we're at this point, but here we are. And I like the Falcons idea because they totally need a QB, but I definitely agree on the part that I think he's going to be out of there because looks almost they're not going to pay. They can't come to an agreement. So,
I mean, I think he has to. I honestly don't see how in the world you're going to get him back in a Ravens uniform and everything be copacetic with the entire. You're trying to tell me there's not some. I'm not gonna say hatred, but a little bit of feel like you got jobbed by him if you're part of that coaching staff. Because I firmly believe he could have played. I believe that he was playing I don't have a contract card, so I'm not going to play. And okay, and I'm not even hating on him for him. I get it. I understand why he did it. It was a business decision.
and let's face it, I know the QB sometimes gets some say in these decisions these days, but he clearly didn't have decisions in what receivers were going his way and the type of offense that was ran, because he never got lucky enough to have a great wide receiver in Baltimore. And it's puzzling why that never even came to fruition ever.
Now I'm going to say two things in the same sentence that are going to contradict themselves. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about. But I'm rewatching the Super Bowl, so I'm seeing commercials come on. Okay. Maya Rudolph, they're promoting M&Ms with her face on them. Why is that supposed to be some kind of a draw? I don't get it. She's not a sex symbol by any stretch of the imagination, right? And if she ever was, it's not 2023.
And let's face it, you either like M&Ms in 2023 or you don't. Putting her in it.
Putting her face on it, why is that a big thing? I really don't understand that. That being said, one of the things my wife got me for Valentine's Day that I think is cool, but it's going to lead me to not eat them, is that I don't even know where she got it at, but she got me I'll get it down at the next break. She got me a gumball machine, just a little tiny gumball machine. But inside there were red, white, and blue, the Braves colors, because it's that dark blue, right? Red, white, and blue M&Ms. And printed on the M&Ms is the Atlanta Braves logo on one. I don't remember what the second logo is, but then the third one is a picture of her and I when we went to I think we were at a Braves game, but the point was she made sure that it was a picture that I had a Braves hat on, right? So it's really cool. I mean, you have to, and this does me no good to put it in the camera because it is really, really small. I'll see if I can take a picture or something and put it on a social media. But it was a really cool and thoughtful gift. So, like I said, I told you I was going to contradict myself because I thought that was cool. But that was because she put the Braves on there and she put a picture of us, and that was well thought out. I'm not going to buy M&Ms with Maya Rudolph's face on it. I can't think of many people that I would buy it for. Now, because they're on there, I don't want to eat them because I'm like, no, I'm going to ruin.
Well, that's why I think and by the way, happy Valentine's to you and the lady is, I know many out there will be.
Whatever it is that you.
Me and me. Hands up, don't.
Valentine's Day to you and your sock.
The right one or the left one? No, but in all seriousness, that's a cool gift. There's few things you have where I know, food or candy goes in and it kind of makes the image itself. So you don't even want to eat it or touch it because it's such a.
No, because it's a cool thing because I can look up. I can't necessarily make out our picture, but I can make out the Braves logo on it. And it's cool. Plus, the other thing, I'm not a big M&M's fan. I'm a
Duff Beer hat?
What's that?
What's your hat?
Oh, Duff Beer.
Yeah, Duff Beer. I knew it.
Something red because of Valentine's Day.
I like it though.
I looked through my closet. I couldn't find anything that even. I was like, do I have anything Valentine's Day hat? Like, did I buy something goofy one year that I'm not aware of? I didn't see anything, so I was like, red Duff's hat. I haven't worn the Duff's hat in a while, so yeah.
I recognize it. Shout out to Duff.
Yeah, baby. Duff Beer.
Love it.
I think nowadays you can actually buy the cartoon beer.
You definitely can.
I bet it's horrendous.
It's just like most beers that they come out with stuff like that for. Yeah, it's more about the image than what's in the can. They just take hey, give me a natty or keys to dump it on in there, and then they put the.
Yeah, it's flat Bud Light because they've literally opened up the bottle and poured it into the cans they send it out to you. Oh man, now I know why Homer was always so angry. This is terrible.
And needed a lot of them.
There's a great episode of what is the name of that show? The guy that played Putty off of Seinfeld had his own sitcom with David Spade. Rules of Engagement. Did you ever watch it?
I did not.
Low key funny. Like, that's a show that if you haven't watched it, it's worth a watch. But there's a great episode where Putty's, I don't know his character's name in that show. Whatever it is, he's one of the best characters in any sitcom ever. Just angry, typical, middle-aged male, just angry at the world kind of thing, right? And they're talking about having to go to some friend's house that his wife wants to drag him to. And he goes, oh, man, and we're going to have to sit there and go to Bill's house again. And he's just going on and on. He goes, the last time we went over there, we had to we had to drink the beer that he made in his bathtub because all of a sudden Miller Lite's not good enough for us. And repeatedly over and over, she's like, just be nice, be nice. He goes, oh yeah, I can't wait to drink Bill's ass tub beer. Let's go. That image, like your buddy trying to get you to drink beer that he's made in his own bathtub. You're like, what? No.
That's a college thing right there.
Yeah, it all goes back to that old Kramer, when Kramer decides that he's going to bathe and wash the vegetables and everything.
I've seen that.
Yeah. The germaphobes are. I want to say Putty's in that one too, but anyways, enough down memory lane because I watch way too much television. This is the wheelhouse from middle of February to opening day. I catch up on a lot of streaming. There's I'll have some college basketball on in the background, but I catch up on a lot of streaming. I don't feel like I have to listen to the basketball games.
Agreed. You just hear squeaky shoes usually anyways.
Good show that we came across yesterday. It's only 6 episodes. We streamed it to its entirety last night. It's really addictive. It's on Apple TV if you have it. And oh my word, I can't believe I can't think of the name of it. But Blackbird. Have you seen it?
Oh, I've heard great things.
Phenomenal. I don't want to give away the ending all I can tell you is a guy gets arrested at the very beginning of the movie, and they send him to try to get to get details to find out where one of the inmate has hidden bodies, because he's confessed to like one murder or something, and now he's trying to say he didn't know what he was doing, and they're convinced he's a serial killer. So that's the gist of it. And in 6 episodes, and they're about an hour apiece, my wife was like, I cannot believe we watched this entire thing in one day. Because
to be fair,
at the beginning of it, I did the show and I watched the end of it, and I was like, to me, 6 hours streaming is nothing.
No, I mean, like you said, my buddies, a bunch of them are watching. I've never heard a bad thing.
Phenomenal. Evidently, it came out in August. I'll tell you who else is in it is Ray Liotta. So it was one of his last things.
Oh, rest in peace. That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, Ray Liotta. I don't know the gentleman's name who's the star of the show, but I can tell you this: that kid's going to be a star. He is an actor. He is a real actor. And the guy that plays the serial killer, that guy deserved like some kind of an Oscar. I mean, he's phenomenal. I know it wasn't a movie, but it felt like a movie because we watched it all in one day.
Like Avatar, it's like 4 hours.
Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. So that's my Super Bowl reactions. What are your Super Bowl? We're supposed to talk Super Bowl reactions. I'm over the Super Bowl, man. I don't know.
No, I mean, listen, when it's not your two teams and it ends like everything else in the world, we move on. But the game delivered, and we talked about it all week on this show, and outside of it and texting with others and stuff, that it's the two best teams in a great game. Now, one thing that didn't show up was the defenses. I still don't know really what happened during some of the. I mean,
shocked me. That shocked me. I thought the defenses. Not to mention the fact I didn't think you would get such a clean game from the offenses.
Right. I mean, besides that one play where Hurts got rushed bad and he fumbled, obviously, there was – and the defense, he kind of almost lucked into that one a little bit. There was no sacks. I mean, Philadelphia had no pressure on Pat Mahomes, even though they limited him in the first half. And then in the second half, Jalen Hurts – I mean, anytime Jalen Hurts wanted to rush or what have you, Kansas City could not figure it out. So, I mean, just a great game. I was on the wrong side.
It was terrible.
Which
didn't shock me when my wife told me the playlist of songs she was known for. I've never heard of any of them. I mean, I at least know some Beyonce songs. I've heard of them. I can't tell you that I could sing along with them, but I've heard of them. But then
I've actually been to a Rihanna concert, and I will say the concert I went to was much better than what you saw on Super Bowl Sunday.
Well, she was 27 months pregnant. She couldn't move. And she's not a very talented singer. She's a showman, right? Or showwoman. Well, that kind of goes out the window when you're like that. They don't want you jostling around doing something. So I understood why she didn't do it. But when she took the gig, she fully knew that she was expecting.
Right.
And 3-4 months ago. So
what's even more shocking to me on that front is that, if she's pregnant that much, usually people bring out guest speakers or somebody that will kill it in one of your, songs. Is there the backup singer like a Drake or anybody else that plays, vocals in her thing? Eminem, Kanye, you can name the person. They've been in her songs. She didn't bring anybody out with her, which I didn't think helped at all.
No, I think she thought that she was the show, that she could carry it just for showing that she was pregnant. Like, that's must-see TV. Like, we've never seen someone pregnant on television before.
Believe me, that we're used to that after what we see on TV these days.
I could not believe. I was shocked a little bit that it took till, I guess, yesterday for it to go viral about her sniffing her finger. Did you know about this? Did you see this?
I did not see this part.
So I didn't watch it because I knew I wasn't going to like it. And everyone that came out of the room said, oh, it was terrible. And then I caught it the next day. I want to make sure that, before I watch this, that I know what I'm talking about. I'm like, yeah, it was nothing to be. There's been so many good ones. That was not good. Even the rappers, was that last year? It was.
Yeah, it was.
Right? That's not necessarily what I would consider great music per se, even though I grew up on some of it, but I was also young and dumb. When you're young, you like a lot of bad music.
Amen.
I think of a lot of really bad bands that not bad bands, but a lot of really bad bands. But they were entertaining. Everyone made fun of 50 Cent for putting on weight, but I bet they wouldn't do it to his face because he was chunky, but he was swole chunky.
Yes, sir. Knock you across the.
He might be a little chubby, but I guarantee he still pack a punch. But she went viral because someone shared a video or mentioned a video that somebody went back and got it of her sniffing her finger after putting her finger near her.
Oh yeah, gosh! Oh wow.
Love zone, I guess, is the cleanest way to say that. So it wasn't anything really all that shocking for 2023, but I guess it went viral yesterday on Twitter. I was just surprised, and that's like, you know what? That tells you how bad the Super Bowl.
If that went viral, that's
100
how
million people watched the Super Bowl, and no one mentioned that until the next day when it was on some talk show or something, and somebody grabbed it and shared it. That tells you how bad of a Super Bowl show it was.
Yeah, at least Janet Jackson showed us something back in the
What
day.
gets me is that afterwards, and this is just crybaby's gonna cry, but them complaining about the holding call that's set up at the very last part of it was tied 35-35, right?
Yeah.
And there was a holding call at like 3rd and 8, and everyone's whining about that was a hold.
Yeah, as a person who bet the Eagles, that was 100% a hold. Sure, would we have loved to see it wrap up with an A+ ending where Hurts gets a chance? Who knows what happens? Yes, but just because it's that time of the game, a hold's a hold.
He held him twice. I'm rewatching the play right now as we speak. He held him when he went to turn, and then when he tried to accelerate him, he pulled him again.
And most people will say, well, Juju didn't react. But if you look at Patrick Mahomes, he reacted right away.
Immediately. He was jumping up and down and pointing, which I don't know about the reaction because that's all drama. The point is it was a hold.
Yeah, and not to mention that Bradbury said it too. So, I mean, come on, it's right from the source. He said he held, the guy held.
And here's a funny thing. If you don't hold and he catches that touchdown there, your team still has a chance.
I wish he didn't hold because I would have loved that scenario.
Because it would have been 42-35, most likely. Eagles would have had the ball to about a minute after they got the kickoff, about a minute 40 left. No timeouts. Do I expect Jalen Hurts to be able to lead the band? Probably not. He's not that kind of quarterback quite yet. But it would have been fun to see.
And I think they would have considered going for 2 as well. Call me crazy, but I think they might have considered it if they got. I think they maybe would.
Oh, would you?
I'm not saying I would, but I think that Eagles team might have.
Yeah, he might. You better get it. You better have a play that you know is going to work.
The Philly special. No, I'm kidding.
Don't give me well, we're gonna run trips right. No. It's got to be something that no one's expecting. You got to have, and by the way, great presence of mind for McKinnon to slide down there at the 1. I assumed he was walking in.
Oh, I was hoping he would when he slid down. I'm like, that's it.
I saw some video where it said that because he slid down, he lost the person lost $200,000 because if McKinnon had scored a touchdown, McKinnon had to score the touchdown. He lost $200,000. If you believe that,
come on,
I got a bridge I can sell you. It's just like the video that I saw where the guy beats the heck out of the TV when the Eagles lose because the field goes through the upright. If you look at that video, if you know what I'm talking about, it's trending.
I do know that video. Yep.
If you look at that video, there's 2 things. A, the TV was just sitting on top of a mantle. Okay, it's not hung. It's just sitting on top of a mantle. That's number 1. Number 2, there's a sticker down at the bottom of it. So why is that sticker still there?
And I want to add number 3. I was digging into that individual even more. He has videos of him breaking other stuff and videos that me and my buddy found as well. So
I guarantee you he's at Best Buy today trying to return that. Say it showed up broken. And someone's going to go, wait a minute, is this you? Does this look familiar? Is this something that we could rattle your brain about? It was too put on. The biggest thing that I saw was like, that thing's got a freaking sticker down there in the left-hand corner.
You could tell when people give off raw emotion, and that one, it's just like, my goodness, it's just like
it was overkill. Yeah. And also, you're having a Super Bowl party. You're not going to hang the TV at all, right? You're just going to have it sitting on a mantle, and you're at no point in the 3/4 plus does someone go, let's take this stupid sticker off, man. What's going on with this?
We just broke that case down. We should be honestly.
That was recorded. The game was recorded. And he went back and broke it afterwards. I guarantee you.
We're investigators right there. So if anybody needs help in those departments, Mac and Joey are on the call.
That's right. If Best Buy wants to hire us as their security fraud analysts,
Geek Squad.
I've been called worse. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to dive into the storylines that we love and the athletes that we love. All right, we'll be back in a flash here on Braves Country on a Valentine's Day special. Keep it locked in.
It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neill, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Fridays, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
Hey, Braves fans, the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel are bringing you Braves Baseball all season long. Hi, I'm Mac McGee, and I'll be bringing you Braves Baseball play-by-play for the Braves fans out there, for all of Braves Country. So pull up an armchair and join us for Braves Country Baseball, first pitch to last pitch, Tuesday and Friday nights, right here on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel.
We live in a world now that welcomes and nurtures the screwball in all of us. Hey, it's a new decade, people. Time to get a little nutty. Treat yourself to Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey, a smooth flavor that combines two of America's favorites, peanut butter and American whiskey. So no more social awkwardness. Time to embrace who you truly are. Get out there and make friends. And be sure it starts with Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. It's available nearly everywhere. Learn more at screwballwhiskey.com. Infinium Spirits. Please enjoy responsibly.
Now, we'll all calm down. Boss, he's just a little excited. I know. I'm going to use good judgment. I haven't lost my temper in 40 years. But, Pilgrim, you caused a lot of trouble this morning. Might have got somebody killed. And somebody ought to belt you in the mouth. But I won't. The hell I will.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man.
Welcome back. We turn the page on 2022. I'll get the official numbers up on our final. We did finish over 60%. I just didn't do the math on exactly high. I think it's in the 61-ish, 62-ish, but I'll have to do the numbers. So today we'll be starting the first day of our lot.
Oh, thank God. I hit my last one, but thank God I am off to a fresh start.
But we'll be hitting our locks. Now, I got to do a little bit of a brag on us because that's 8 years in a row that we finished over 60%.
Take credit when we can.
And our friend the jockey, by the way, ever since he's talked smack about 58% not being very good, he's got a losing record since. Someone pushed it up today. He's 3 or 4 games under 500 since January 21st. But someone else did some deep digging, and I noticed it. I just haven't gone back and done the numbers. So there's games where he will sit there and give you advice on Twitter, but he never really calls them his locks unless they hit, then he wants credit for it.
So that 58% is now 5.8%.
So someone went back and did a deep dive on that since they've been paying attention. I don't know what the date is, but they did a deep dive on that. And let me double check it. Yeah. 27-37 since then. 27-37 since the games that he's mentioned that they've held him accountable for. 10 games under 500, and he's talking smack about a 58% winning streak.
That's not going to win you much.
No, it's not. I mean, come on. What are we talking about here?
Yeah, it's like you
and
can't.
I never like to brag when we do really well. I'll mention it so everyone knows that we're doing well. But because I believe in the gambling karmas, right? I believe that if you get too big for your britches, you're about ready for a 17-game losing streak, right? That's the baseball fan in me. I get very superstitious. I may not be superstitious, but I'm at least a little stitious. So, anyways, well,
if you're gonna post something on social media, I mean, like I had a good year a couple years ago, a bad year last year. It happens. That's why it's called gambling, and Vegas makes money. Let's just stick to what you put up there. I hate when people post that and not name it their life. Come on.
I went back and looked at what he was referring to because I don't read a lot of them because who's got time? I mean, dude, he tweets a lot, and I started reading what this guy was referring to. Is that he'll sit there and go, "Do I get credit for this? Do I get credit for that?" Even though it was locks, and so he's putting it down as a lock. But when he mentions one, he goes, "No, that wasn't a lock." And they're like, "You said you were taking them. What are you talking about?"
Come on, man.
Exactly. Derek Carr is a free agent.
Yep.
That was breaking news that happened just shortly ago. It was well expected. So the Saints were trying to figure out a way to get him signed, but he didn't like whatever they had to offer. So he becomes a free agent. And I believe how it works, I don't think there's any tampering that goes on. I don't think he can sign the dotted line until March 13th, March 15th, whatever it is. I think it's the 15th this year. But because he is a free agent, he can go start talking to teams now. And why is that a big deal? Because Aaron Rodgers is about to go into some freaking, what is it called? Darkness retreat.
Yeah.
Closet for 4 days. So while he's doing this, Derek Carr gets the pick of the litter wherever he's from. And if you're a team like the Jets, right? And you've brought in Hackett and whatnot to try to lure Rodgers there, are you going to be willing to sit on your hands while he goes into a closet for 4 days or wherever the heck he's going to?
Yeah, because honestly, there's a drop. I mean, Rodgers, wherever he does is big, obviously. But if they try to wait for that and miss out on him and Carr, then you're looking at the Jimmy G, Baker Mayfields of the world. And to me, that's a totally different level when you just not look at, everything involved with the statistics, especially. I mean, right? It's a huge drop. Then.
It's a huge drop off. I don't know if it's a big drop off between Derek Carr and Jimmy G, but I do believe it's a big drop off between Derek Carr and Baker Mayfield.
Right. And at least Carr, he's been pretty healthy too. So, I mean, Jimmy G, it might be as talented, but how many games are you going to get out of him?
That's true. If you sign Jimmy G, if you're the Jets and you sign Jimmy G, you better figure out a way to get Zach Wilson ready. Or if you're trading Zach Wilson, you better find a way to also to sign Mike White.
Correct.
It'll be interesting to see if Mike White gets a chance to be a full-time starter somewhere.
Hey, the whole NFC South, we're in the Atlanta, Georgia area. We all know it. Everybody in that division. I've never seen a division everybody needs a QB.
Everybody.
I mean, everybody.
Atlanta. Because I believe Lamar Jackson's coming south, baby.
They'd be instant favorites then.
He would be a huge draw. Went to Louisville. He would be an enormous draw.
And Arthur Smith kind of tries to run that offense. He had Mariota and Ritter back there. That, they're kind of not the fastest quarterbacks like Lamar, but similar types of system where I think Arthur Smith would really make that work. So I could see it.
He's from Florida. For some reason, I thought he was from somewhere closer to Atlanta, but still, he's from Florida. Went to Louisville. He would be an enormous draw. If I'm Arthur Smith, I find a way to bring him in. I don't care what the deal is.
Well, and same goes for Tampa Bay. You have a roster that you have a lot of pieces there now. If you don't want to sell off and restart completely, to me, the only way you can make it make sense is one of these top quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson or Derek Carr, because otherwise, to me, then Tampa Bay should sell off a lot of veterans. But if they're going to keep everyone around, they should be going for Carr, Lamar, Rodgers, one of those three.
All I know is this: DeAndre Hopkins wants out of Arizona now for sure.
Oh, yeah.
He was already talking about it, and now he's got himself a head coach as a defensive coordinator. He's not staying.
That reminds me of like a Chargers Staley move where I just think we're going to be scratching our heads a lot during that whole tenure there. Arizona,
All right, if we're going to get into these Valentine's cards, let's hit the teams that we follow first. Give me a couple of your guys that you're giving your Valentine's cards to, that you're like, man, these are my guys. These are the ones I like to watch.
yeah, and I thank you for allowing me to do so since I don't have one myself. I would love to give out a Valentine, and here we go. I'm going to start.
Real weird in here.
We're going to make animal noise. No, all jokes aside, DeForest Buckner would be my first one. Ever since he became an Indianapolis Colt 3 years ago when we traded a first-round pick, this guy has been nothing but consistent, which is opposite of the franchise the past few years. Every year he's above 8 sacks. He's a true leader in the locker room and keeps that defense together. And when he's injured, he puts himself on the field, unlike some of my other Colts like Darius Leonard, others who take extra games off. This guy plays every time, even if he has something on his arm, something on his leg. He gives you everything he's got. And off the field, he's a great man as well. So that's where my first Valentine is going, DeForest Buckner.
All right, mine's Derrick Henry. Obvious reasons, baby. Let's go. It's from Yulee, and he's the king right now, and still my favorite NFL player to watch, hands down. I still think he's got 2, maybe 3 good years left in him.
Which is amazing for the running back position. I mean, it's obvious, but that is amazing.
He's different, man. He's just built different.
He's not human. Like when Albert Pujols says, "Why didn't you eliminate him, Albert?" Like, he's a machine. He's a machine.
All right, what is your next one?
Yeah, I'm fully staying away from the Chicago Bulls. Otherwise, I would have gave it to DeRozan, but that franchise is a joke, so I'm not going there. I'm going to go to Mr. Ian Happ on my Chicago Cubs. Listen, at first I didn't know a few years ago if this guy would be in it for the long haul or be able to make it on our roster, but last year he had a very good season. He's very fun to watch play baseball. He's pretty athletic. And, last year he was able to make some moves. So in a lineup that has more pieces around it, I would love to give Ian Happ maybe a little scotch. Happy Valentine's Day, Ian Happ.
I had to pick me a Seminole, so I went ahead and grabbed Trey Benson, running back. He's coming back. I thought he was leaving. I thought for sure he would go to the NFL draft. He's coming back. So I didn't want to take the obvious low-hanging fruit of Jordan Travis. So I'll go ahead and take Trey Benson. Fun running back to watch, and he's back, baby. And I'll hit you with one more. Trevor Lawrence of Jacksonville. Fun player to watch. And he's starting to come into his own. I can't wait to see what he does next year. Do you have another one?
If I had to give another one, I would go DeMar DeRozan, even so I said about the Chicago Bulls. But the way he was able to come up in his career at an older age and almost be MVP last year, thank you, DeMar, for at least last season.
All right, let's take a really quick break. We will be back in less than 2 and 2 here on Braves Country, as we got to get to jamming on the best of all the storylines coming for the spring of 2023 here in the world of sports. We'll be back in just a flash. Keep it locked in here on The Key. Hey, Braves fans. Thank you for listening to Braves Country Baseball. Hi, I'm Mac McGee, and we are here to bring you play-by-play, pitch-by-pitch of your Atlanta Braves, bringing you spring training and 2 to 3 games a week all season long. Please like and subscribe today. Braves Country Baseball.
It's time
time to live, laugh, and create memories again with MSC Cruises. Join us on some of the world's most modern and innovative ships. Discover again at our new private island, Ocean Key MSC Marine Reserve, named Best New Cruise Destination. Cruise the Caribbean and Bahamas from Miami or Port Canaveral. Book now with free balcony upgrades and flexible booking changes. Call your travel advisor or visit msccruises.com. Restrictions apply. MSC Cruises, a world of discovery.
Hey folks, this is Mark White with The Mark White Show, and you can tune into The Mark White Show every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. right here on Rock 99 WQEE The Key, the home of Southern sports and talk.
Welcome back. Happy Valentine's Day to you and yours, and we're giving out Valentine's cards all day long to our favorite sports. I don't know if heroes is the right word, but guys we like to watch. And now, real quick, because we got to get into the storylines, Joey, but we didn't get a chance to get it in the last segment. Give me your guys on teams that you're not a fan of the team, but you love the player.
Well, my first one I'll start with is it's funny that Brian just joined this chat on YouTube right now because I'm going to go with Joe Burrow.
He's on my list as well.
Yeah, I mean, listen, LSU was awesome, is phenomenal.
Joe Burrow, not Brian.
Yeah. Yes, let me clear that up as well. Definitely not you, Brian. No, I'm just kidding. But Joe Burrow, I mean, listen, he tore his ACL after that great LSU run. People were like, oh, man, this is not a good situation to be in. And look at where he's came since then. He's Joe Cool. I love what he does before games, how he presents himself. I love himself during a game. I just love watching him at the quarterback position. And he's not a huge scrambler, which I always like because I'm used to more of the quarterbacks in the early 2000s versus what we got now.
Yeah, that's got a lot to do with why I'm a Burrow fan, is because he does it with his arm. And I do like the running quarterbacks. I do enjoy them, but I like a guy that's he's a little bit of a throwback, but also he just seems like a competitor. Now, that being said, he's got to get a Super Bowl ring. He's got to get a Super Bowl ring, or he's going to be that guy that everyone talks about. Well, it was good, but. And
Josh Allen's on that train too, right?
Josh Allen is on that train. Both of them need a Super Bowl ring in the world. And look, next year's the year to do it.
Yep.
It's hard to repeat. If you're going to do it, you got to do it now. So Joe Burrow, I don't think I need to add any more, but I did have him on my list. I'll jump to the next guy. And my guy is a pitcher for the Volunteers. I'm excited to watch him play this year. He's being projected as the number 2 pitcher to be drafted this June draft in Major League Baseball. Chase Dollander, right-handed pitcher for the Tennessee Volunteers, and he has a complete repertoire of about 4 pitches, which is rare in college baseball.
Wow.
He's got the velocity, he's got the control. I want to watch him play. I only watched him briefly last year on some video clips. I want to actually see him play this year. So Dollander is my second guy. Who's your second guy?
I'm going to go to the NBA and go with Luka Doncic. I mean, ever since he's been in the league, he hasn't really had a running mate. I know he has Kyrie, but we all know what will happen when that honeymoon ends. But last year he went to the Western Conference Finals, pretty much carried the team on his back by himself, and he continues to improve each year as his points per game right now is 33 in a game. I mean, he's a phenomenal talent, a phenomenal athlete. I love watching him play.
My last one is not an athlete, he's a coach. I feel sorry for him. So I'm giving him a Valentine's just because, man, that poor guy, I don't know what the problem is, but why he hasn't had a chance to become a head coach. Maybe some Eric Bieniemy, man.
Hey, man.
Come on, man. What's going on with this guy? I don't care if he doesn't do a good interview. He gets good results. And maybe it's because he's got one of my favorite nicknames of all time when he was playing in college and into the NFL when Chris Berman would call him Eric Sleeping with Bieniemy. I'm just like, yeah, can we get him a head coaching gig? Give him a chance. I don't know why Arizona didn't go after him. What's the worst that could happen? Maybe he could have fixed Kyler Murray.
Yeah, usually when you hire a coach, there's a lot of happiness. I feel like there's more questions than answers in Arizona after the hiring today.
Absolutely. Did you have any others?
It's interesting you put the coach route down, but no, nothing off the top of my head. I will give one. You know what? I will go former coach. Happy Valentine's Day, Jeff Saturday, for all you did in Indianapolis, my man. I hope you go back to ESPN.
Take your own shirt on, man.
Hey, I got my wish.
Any necklace action?
Well, Doug almost fell out of his dang chair, so I couldn't wear it.
I was not expecting that. When you had that on the last show, let me ask you something. Did you have that on the entire show?
Yes.
I just didn't notice it.
I was keeping his face low until I was trying to keep his face as low as possible until the end.
He's going to have to disappear from television for a little bit because
I mean,
he hurt his brand big time.
Oh, I love Jeff Saturday, but it's a shame not many people are remembering the Hall of Fame center right now. A lot of them are going to be remembering these 8 games.
Well, yeah, but at the same token, his fault because he never should have taken the gig. He wasn't ready. He wasn't qualified. He had never coached. Now, is that on Irsay as well? Sure it is. But every time some drunk dummy comes up with a dumb idea, you don't have to do it.
Yeah, thank God Irsay wrote his wrong on that because I think to this point, not to get on a tangent, that Jeff Saturday thought he was going to get it again, be able to get his own staff and bring people in there. But luckily, Irsay realized enough's enough.
I had a roommate years ago that used to try to talk me into coming out on the roof all the time because he was having a beer. Always trying to get me to come out on the roof of the house we were staying on. Not saying I never did it, but I didn't always do it.
Not every Sunday.
I was like, I don't know if it's safe. I'm feeling like this isn't a great idea.
Some days it felt very safe.
Sometimes, man. Okay. So we're talking about the storylines this spring.
Yes.
That we're loving, that we can't wait for. Give me your first one.
It's an obvious one, but for a couple of reasons, I'm going with March Madness tournament. Obviously, that starts March 14th. I'm going to Nashville for the first time in my life for the first round. I'll be there. I'm landing Thursday morning at 10 o'clock. Games start at Yep, exactly. I'm so happy. I cannot wait. I'm going with 8 guys. We got a huge Airbnb, and we're going to celebrate the tournament Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I'm really looking forward to March Madness.
Hit me up and tell me the area you'll be in, and I'll give you a good idea of where you should go haunt. There's some, depending on where you're going to be at, there's a lot of choices.
I appreciate that. I'll definitely let you know because I think we already picked it out too. So I just got to re-look into the location.
Yeah, just send me a pin or whatever, you know, like the general area. But we've obviously been there a lot, and I used to live there, and I still have a lot of friends who live there. So if anything's changed, you know, they can give me that information as well. My first one, it's March Madness, but particularly, I'm really interested to see, can Bama make a run? Are they for real? And is Purdue for real? I really like Purdue, but man, they have lost some games here recently, and I'm starting to wonder if they may be a paper tiger because going into the season they were not expected to be, right?
Exactly.
So that's my particular story for March Madness. I also like to see Drew Gonzaga? He almost got my Valentine's card. Can they get back to the Final Four? Because they've kind of but they've got a good team. They got a good team. What's your next one?
My next one is actually going to hit home here in Chicago. I haven't looked forward to Chicago Cubs baseball in the past couple of seasons with what's been going on. Spring training, you know, we just got pitchers and catchers reported. I want to see if this Cubs team can do anything in the Central this year. You know, the Cardinals are the big beast on top. They have the most talent on paper. But I do think when you look at it that the Cubs can be a wild card team as long as obviously healthy is, of course, always an issue with many teams. But I want to see my Chicago Cubs get a wild card and compete for the Central.
Mine is the National League wild card race.
Oh,
in general.
off it.
Now I know that kind of takes us a little further past the spring, but I think that's going to start day one. Because I do believe you're going to get the Atlanta Braves. You're going to get the Philadelphia Phillies. You're going to get the Dodgers and the Padres and the Cardinals in the mix for the playoffs. And probably the Mets. Let's be honest. It'll probably be the Mets. But what about the other teams who have a puncher's chance to make some noise?
Mm-hmm.
And the difference in what this year's schedule is going to be like as opposed to other years. I'm curious to see what the Cubs can do.
Yep.
I'm curious to see what a couple of other teams that are kind of a little under the radar, but you can't sleep on the San Francisco Giants. I think Arizona's become much better over the last couple of off seasons. I think they've really helped their case. And Milwaukee's still in the mix. And I'll tell you right now, the Miami Marlins are making sneaky good moves that I don't know if it's going to be good enough to actually stay in it, but they'll be more competitive for longer than they have been in the past.
I like that.
What's your last one?
My last one actually relates back to your college basketball point, and taking in the great state of Indiana, we all seen Purdue, as you said, has been struggling lately. I'm looking forward to see the Indiana Hoosiers. I listen to a lot of Indy radio, and this team is exciting. And my bold prediction right now, easier to say now, but a week ago I was thinking about this. I think Indiana is going to go the furthest team out of the whole state of Indiana in the tournament, which means they outlast Purdue. Because I'm telling you, Chase Jackson, I'm going to screw his whole name up, TJD, but he is just phenomenal on the court. He's improved so much since last season. Coached by Mike Woodson, I'm watching Indiana Hoosiers basketball come tournament time.
Indiana's good. I'm still going to fade them over Purdue just because Purdue's defense and what they do on the glass.
Fair.
That travels. My last one is, I don't get to say this every year, the chase to the NBA Finals, specifically what I think is going to be the showdown. In the East, you're going to get Celtics Bucks. And in the West, you're going to get Suns. And it'll be interesting to see who that other team is. Could it be Memphis? I would love to see Memphis and Ja Morant, assuming he can stay out of jail. Could it be Dallas? I know a lot of people are liking that. I still think Dallas doesn't have the defense. But a showdown of Suns versus Celtics in the NBA Finals.
Ooh, I would love that as an NBA fan.
And KD comes back to bite us in the butt one more time. We're coming up on it. What is your lock of the day? No whammies. We're starting anew.
Oh, man, this feels good.
Probably not, but.
Whew, I felt like the 4-12-1 Colts. Now I get a fresh start. I just got my head coach. The locks are fresh. I'm going to take us to college basketball because the NBA has done me bogus, and you taught me a good point to try to steer clear of that. So I'm going to do that today. And I'm going to go to the Big Ten and take us to Illinois is -3.5 on the road against Penn State. Last time these two teams met up, Penn State took it to them. I don't think Illinois will let that happen again, as Illinois is really contending and heating up in the Big Ten at 17-7 overall, and they're 8-5 in the conference. So they really need to get this more of a gimme win per se over a Penn State team who's mediocre. So I'm taking Illinois hoops -3.5.
All right, and I want to double check my line before I give it because I want to make sure that it's accurate and up to date. Oh man, there's a couple that I like, and I'm actually playing a parlay on it tonight. But I'll just take the one because it's a lot easier to hit that than it is to hit both of them, right? Give me Rock Chalk Jayhawk on the money line -125 at Oklahoma State. I think we're getting them at a good value because Oklahoma State's coming off of a big W and they've been playing pretty well. But Kansas should win. Now, what Kansas team shows up, that's remain to be seen. The other one that I really like a lot, but what I would suggest more to do is tease these. If you take Kansas and you take Michigan, Michigan's getting a point at Wisconsin. Michigan's playing really good basketball right now.
Yep, they have been.
And I do believe it's going to come down to one possession either way. So that's why I'll tell you another one I kind of like too. NC State's getting a point at Syracuse. If you want to go crazy, want to get yourself like a 6-point teaser, NC State, Michigan, and Kansas would be a really fun one.
And if you don't have a Valentine like me, you have plenty of time to watch these hoops tonight.
And I'm done talking about the other guys' picks because they have just been a trash. He got murdered yesterday, man. They lost. The team that he picked was giving up 6.5. They lost by like 15 or 20.
Oh,
I mean, it was brutal.
Oh.
What is your walk-off? We got a jam.
Happy Valentine's Day to everyone out there. I'm going to have fun watching sports because not many people will be.
Yeah, happy Valentine's Day. We'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's Wednesday hump day. So we're going to have Brian Snow with us, and we're going to have Justin Waller with us. So it should be a good show. We will see you mañana. Have a great Valentine's Day. And if you're just hearing this, you can always tell your wife that they screwed up the flowers and act mad at the flower shop, and then have them show up tomorrow when it's what.
Goodbye, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks for listening to Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks on 99.1 FM WQEE, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, and simulcasting on youtube.com/@Braves Country. Braves Country comes your way weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Please follow, like, and subscribe today. Armchair Quarterback Radio, your first choice for Southern sports.
Something of the 5th of September. Something of the 5th of September. She said a lot that I can't remember. Something of the 5th. Can I get another cigarette, please? Can I get another cigarette, please? Yeah, I know I live to regret it. Just give me another cigarette, please.
You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia.
Are you